Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new around here, we're Matt and Shelby. Last year we were traveling like most of the year, just hopping from place to place in Europe, and that's what a lot of our channel has been about up until now, but we also do some other like lifestyle content. But today we're gonna be talking about our travels again because we were recently challenged by our friend Blake to kind of rank all the places that we went. You wanna talk about the ranking system we had?
So we went through every place that we went on our trip and basically ranked it using the like S tier system, which I think its origin is in like video game ranking for Super Smash Brothers, when there's like special characters that you play with that everybody agrees are like S tier characters. Anyway, so that's what we used to rank.
What our friend Blake wanted us to use.
Basically like our experiences of those places, not in any way kind of like what those places are actually like.
So don't take any of these to be like offending a certain place or people, or even like trying to be comprehensive about a place.
Yeah, this is not a reflection of that at all.
But it was kind of just putting two places like head to head and saying like, which one did we like better from our experience?
I'll briefly go through the tier list. There's S tier, which is special. So like some of our favorite places. There's A tier, which was like really awesome and amazing. There's B tier, which might have not been our favorite, but we'd still go back to them. C was kind of average. D tier would be places that we probably had good times in, but might not go back in the recent or the future soon. The soon future.
Near future.
You know, the soon future. I like soon future. I'm gonna stick with that. And then F is somewhere that we probably wouldn't go for a while, or
there was something about our experience that like wasn't great. Like, Again, not that the place is bad, but just our experience.
We're gonna dive into it. We'll start from the bottom. You can kind of see what the culmination of some of our favorite places.
And that way we're ending on the best places.
That's true.
Not like
the best places in our experience.
In our heart.
Yes. I only have one in F tier.
Oh, I have 4.
Whoa, okay.
But again, not that any of them were bad in themselves.
Well, I wonder if mine ends up with yours in your list.
I don't think it will. Okay, so one of mine was Bath and Bristol.
Okay.
Again, not like inherently bad.
If viewers are gonna hate that.
Again, not hating on the actual city or the people. It's just like I didn't really enjoy my experience there that much. Like I don't feel the need to go back there. I feel like I had higher hopes for things that we would do. Or
like your expectations were off in some way.
Yeah, it just felt a lot more like urban culture, and I kind of was expecting closer to what we had in other parts of England, and I feel like it just wasn't my favorite. Another one was Athens. And that was mainly because, I mean, granted, we were only there literally 24 hours. So again, not like a judgment on Athens or people or anything, but the only saving grace was the food. We had great food in Athens. I didn't feel
one of the best meals, I think, of the entire trip. And also like so cool to see the Acropolis.
Oh, I know, the Acropolis was cool, but like there were just too many cons for me because I didn't feel very safe there. You either had to stay right by the airport and take so long to get to the city, or get so long in the city to get to the airport. And like the drivers were just crazy. I really
loved our driver there. He was awesome.
I know, but I'm saying like I did not feel safe. Amsterdam too. I would go back to Amsterdam, but more so in like the spring or summer, like a different time of year. But I wouldn't go back.
Winter was just kind of bleak.
Our experience that was toward the bottom tier for me because we didn't do a whole lot. It was very cold. Like the people weren't especially nice. The food wasn't especially great. So my last one for that category was Brussels, which we were also only there one day. So, and that was mainly just because we had to fly out. It was just very much like a big city, and like when we were there, it felt like a lot of things were closed too. So it just wasn't that exciting.
Yeah. Well, the only one that I had on my list was Kotor.
I thought you might put that there.
Yeah, which is Montenegro. We were there for 2 weeks and we literally just were like in Kotor, and we didn't go anywhere else other than Paris. My bad.
So you would go back to Montenegro, but not to Kotor.
Sure. I would go back to Kotor a day or two. We drove through Montenegro to get to the airport, and I was like, oh my gosh,
beautiful.
There were so many places that we should have seen. And it was just
that
like,
drove me nuts,
we really didn't utilize our time well there. It was still really great, but it's hard to like have a least favorite place when you're going to all these amazing places. Anyway, On to the D list.
All right.
So this is below average, more cons than pros. We might visit it again if it makes sense.
Yeah, like just it's a little better than like the
Yeah.
F group for us.
Yeah.
I actually put KOTOR in mine. I'm not going to go into it a ton
okay.
because we just talked
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had like all the same reasons as you. Kirkcaldy was on mine too. That's just like a little Scottish beach city that we went to, and it was truly just a stop on the way toward our next destination. So we didn't actually like want to go there for anything specific because of that.
But some of your family is from
Well,
there.
that's one of the huge pros, and that's one reason I probably will go there again someday is because I found out after that my family comes from there.
Also, I remember having a really great dinner there.
I was gonna say I didn't expect to have like amazing food, but we did.
And that was like one of the places I felt most local.
Really?
Yeah, because it was just like this random little town. It was still such a good time, but I totally think it deserved to be in the list that you have it
Okay,
in.
good. After that, I have Vienna.
I also have that on my list.
Ooh. I like Vienna. I like the people. Like the people were really nice. I don't know. I didn't have like very good food there. It wasn't super memorable. It doesn't help that we were also like sick that week, so we just didn't get out and do a whole lot. It was so expensive to stay in the city, so we stayed outside the city, but then it wasn't super convenient to get in the city, and so just I don't know, all those things kind of added together to make it like not my favorite. I also have Copenhagen, kind of like what I was saying about Amsterdam too. Like Copenhagen is really cute and I'd love to go there in like the summer or spring, but it was just so cold and we didn't really do a
Very
whole
cold.
lot.
That was a lot of fun
Also things were so expensive.
because Blake and Joey were there.
Yeah, exactly. I also put Venice on this list. Venice was the most touristy place we went. The only saving grace was the food and our hotel host. The last one on my D list was Dublin. We had like okay food there. The history is cool. It was cool staying at the Trinity College, but I hated driving there. Granted, I wasn't driving. I hated watching you drive there. It was horrible. And I also didn't feel like there was a lot to do close to where we were staying.
Okay.
So.
I had Dublin. I had Vienna. I had Kirkcaldy. And I had Athens and Brussels on the D list.
So our D and F tiers are pretty similar.
Yeah, like I would go back to these places. I didn't have the experiences that I had in other places. I'll say it that way. Some of them we like had to go to, like Athens and Kirkcaldy, because we were like going somewhere. We'll move on to C list. Kind of even pros and cons, and we would be down to visit again. This is my list.
Okay.
Venice,
First.
Paris, Florence, Galway, Berlin, Amsterdam, and Interlaken. I really love Interlaken. I've just been there the most.
Oh, really?
Because I went with my family and then I went with you guys again. So I'd love to go back again, but I'm not like, I gotta go back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Amsterdam, I think I'd love to go back in the spring when like is it the tulips are blooming?
Yeah, I think.
And I'd love to like go out of the city
And the
and like,
windmills.
yeah, go to see some of the more like scenic kind of landscape.
Me too.
I really loved Berlin a lot, but okay, I got my Berlin fixed. Same thing with Florence. I want to go back to Florence more to like go out of Florence and go to Tuscany.
Yeah.
Paris to me was like pretty hot. We did like a ton of touristy things. That was really cool, but I can wait to go back to Paris.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have some of the same ones on mine. So I also said Paris. Some of the same things as you. Like I loved doing Versailles. I think that was my highlight.
So cool.
And there's just so much to do. Like we literally ran out of time. We couldn't do everything. But it was really dirty. Like especially the subway was disgusting. Interlaken was also on mine. It is so beautiful and there's like tons to do. So I definitely would recommend it to like a first time Switzerland visitor. But I will say like it wasn't the most walkable and I didn't think the food was like great. As you can tell, food is high on my list.
Yeah.
Also, I had Budapest on mine. I liked Budapest a lot, actually, like more than we expected to. But it still wasn't like I didn't like it as much as my B tier. Florence was also on mine. I think the reason I would go back to Florence is like you said, to go to Tuscany or even for more of the restaurants because Florence was some of the best food, I think. But it was so hot. It was also very touristy. There were like so many tourist booths, so it just made it like not feel authentic to me. I put Galway as well. I really loved the place we stayed in.
I think it'd be so cool to someday go on sabbatical like to the actual place that we stayed and just stay for like 2 or 3 months and like work on a book or something.
Definitely.
And like that was just so incredibly gorgeous. You were so detached and unplugged from everything, and that was like a really beautiful feeling. Plus it was just like one of the best memories of the trip, I think, with the girls and Just the juxtaposition of Craig's dungeon versus
I know,
our
that
place.
was the best storyline.
So
I think also the downtown Galway was really cool. Like there wasn't a whole lot to do, but if you're a person who loves just like bar hopping or something, I feel like that had a really good nightlife.
Yeah.
I put the Faroe Islands. I know that you'll have it higher, but for me, like, you know, my experience, I was like not feeling it on the ferry, and frankly, a lot of the things that we wanted to do like really depended on the weather, and a lot of times like got canceled by the weather. But I will say the food pleasantly surprised me. That was really good. And then I also put Berlin on mine for a lot of the same reasons. Okay, B list we put as like above average, better than like the C group, but then there's A and S. So there are still 2 tiers above this.
Yes.
But B's are like, we would definitely visit again.
Yes.
Okay, I put Edinburgh. Beautiful architecture, awesome food. We loved our time in Edinburgh. We happened to go during the Fringe Festival, which was so cool, but also made it like really hard to find accommodations. Made everything like super busy, so it was hard to
And there was like a trash strike the whole time.
I was gonna
we
say
were
the
there.
trash strike too. So it was very dirty, even though like it's not usually that way.
Yeah,
But again, it's our experience. I also put Rome. It has like a million things to do and really great food. But I will say like it was really crowded, very touristy. It was so hot when we were there. I also put Zurich in this category. Zurich is tough because we really didn't spend that much time like in the city because we were staying outside of it. But it was like a really nice city, and I would definitely go back. That's kind of all, like, I don't have a lot of opinions on Zurich. Also, it was kind of hard to communicate with people, I found, because a lot of people speak Schweizerdeutsch and not like High German, and it's really hard to learn Swiss German because that's not like a written like Duolingo language. Another one I had on here was Salzburg. It's so walkable. I love all the Sound of Music stuff. I loved staying at the Sound of Music house. That was dreamy. Like the food didn't wow me, but I would definitely go back. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And the last one on my B tier was London.
Also on my.
Okay. I actually liked it a lot better than I thought I would. I remember thinking that I wouldn't like it, and I did a lot. It's very walkable.
Yeah.
Tons of history.
That was a super cool like long weekend.
Well, yeah, we were only there like 3 days, so
Yeah.
we didn't even scratch the surface. But some cons, like the tube was really dirty and gross. Like I didn't
Very
feel
hot.
super, and it was also just so expensive.
Yeah, the only difference I have on my list, it's Edinburgh, Zurich, Budapest, Salzburg, London,
Budapest you
and
put
Copenhagen. I really loved Budapest. That was awesome.
And how cool, because you were so unsure about it.
And it was so cool. One of the biggest dreams of the whole trip for me was to like meet some friends, and we did in Omar and Julie, and they're friends too.
You also had one of your favorite breakfasts there.
Yes, oh, so good. I
Changed
forget
your
what the
life.
place was. It was like
Lion's Locker.
Lion's Locker. Oh, amazing. And then Copenhagen. And that was really cool because it was with 2 of our best friends, Jody and Blake, kind of freeze together, see like the castle and...
You, I think, put more value into like the people that we were with than maybe I did. And not to say I didn't value that, but like I'm just saying in making this list.
That's good.
I want to just point that out to our friends watching, that I really did enjoy our time with you.
Yes, she hated your time together.
I was just focusing
She
more
was
on, like,
only
the place.
focusing about the food.
Exactly.
She only wanted to know what was going on with the culinary worlds.
So that was your B tier?
That's my B tier. My A tier, we thought were almost our favorites.
Like basically favorites.
And
but
like
maybe
still
have,
would
like-
definitely go back to. My first one, Rome. The main reason is because of the food.
Yeah.
Definitely not the company.
I was the only one there.
Yeah, we just like ate like
Oh, so
kings
good.
and queens. You hear so much about Rome and you're like, oh, like what's the deal with this place? And then it's just so alive.
Well,
and
or
so,
you're like, oh yeah, the Colosseum, but then you get there and you're like, whoa, it's so cool.
We used to like put ships in it and have sea battles and stuff. Anyway, and then the Cotswolds and Castle Coombe. Oh, I love that so much. And it's outside of London, a couple hours. And
It's when you think of like the little old villages, like stone buildings. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Cotswolds.
it's just like so fairy tale-ish. And then for me, the Faroe Islands. I like really want to go back there and go on like a hiking trip with the guys.
You can go back
I would
there.
love to. That sounds great. Santorini is on there. So expensive,
That's on mine too.
but just such a beautiful time. How did this get built here? It's like on the top of a cliff, basically.
And I feel like even though some people
Like
might
an
say
Ia.
like, oh, it's so expensive and overhyped, it's like, it is, but I feel like it still lives up to the hype.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
still incredible, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. And then my last one is Stockholm. I like
mine
really
too.
loved Stockholm a lot. I really want to go back in the summer. And the food was really good. It was fun because we got to stay on like a boat. So that was my A list.
So the ones that I did have that you also had were Santorini, which we kind of already talked about, and also Stockholm. The Christmas markets were my favorite ones. Everything felt so authentic. The other two, I put Verena. Verena is on Lake Como, which kind of kills me not to put it in the S tier, but A tier is still favorites. The only con was it's hard to find a hotel in Verena because it's just this little fishing village. And so we had to stay up on this like hilltop where it was like this foresty climb day in and day out, and that was not my favorite. But the actual town of Verena, I'm obsessed. I would live there. It's amazing.
Yeah. We will buy property there at some point in our lives.
All right. And then the other one I have is Positano, which also was like dreamland and kind of like Santorini. Like you hear about it, you see photos, you're probably like, oh, it's so expensive, it's overhyped, but truly like it is still so amazing. We actually did a breakdown of how much money we spent just a couple weeks ago on our channel. So
sort of depressing, but also.
But what I was gonna say is that wasn't our most expensive month. Like,
no,
we still made it somewhat budget friendly because we stayed like on the cheaper side of town. No, but okay, but we found a hotel for 6 nights for under $600 or something like that. So it was like, it was pretty good. Okay, that's my A tier. Are we moving on to S tier?
Nice.
Our tops, this is the moment.
This is the pros far outweigh the cons.
Like our absolute
and for
favorite
our
places,
experience, they were
still
just like
dreaming about them.
the coolest. Yeah, and we'd go back, we'd like probably live there. My top place is Dubrovnik, Croatia.
Okay, mine too. So we can just talk about them together.
Yes, so I love everything about Croatia. What's crazy is that we saw just such a tiny piece of it. Can't wait to go back and like go on a road trip.
Before we went on our trip and people were asking like, where are you gonna go? And whenever we would say Croatia, they'd be like, is that safe? Like, what, are you sure? What is that? And it's like, no, it's literally the coolest place I've ever been.
Yeah.
Think like crystal clear water with these amazing islands, and there's also medieval castles on the water. And like $6 Aperol spritzes. I'll do one that you already said in one of your other tiers. One of mine was the Cotswolds / Castle.
Nice.
I just felt like so comfortable there. I could have lived there. I was so at home, and it felt so like slow paced, so natural. I also loved that we stayed in this Airbnb and we literally lived with a horse. Like there was a horse on the property.
There was a horse in the Airbnb.
On the property, and a dog.
Number 2 for me was Bruges.
I have that one too.
The Venice of the North. So old, rich with history, and especially the time of year that we went.
I actually
really liked it in the cold, and
yeah.
One of those places that I think you could just like settle down with a nice coffee or tea and kind of enjoy the canals. And
the lifestyle felt so like slow, but in a good way. But
it's funny that most of my list is just like chilling somewhere.
Yeah, Bruges literally doesn't have a bad angle, and I felt like I was in a fairy tale book the whole time.
Yeah, so cool.
Where
was Bruges on your list?
It was here, so I was gonna talk about that anyway.
Okay.
I wrote down like Christmas time magic.
Nice.
And I only have one left.
Okay, so I have 3. Positano.
You like adored Positano.
It was one of the only weeks that I like took off from work.
That is like the ultimate vacation place, I think.
For sure. Number 4 for me was Verena. Just because
Love Verena.
It's Lake Como, and you can't get any better than that.
That was also one of the first places we traveled.
Yeah.
And I remember both of us being like, this is our favorite place we've ever been. And it still like obviously holds true even after we went to so many places.
Yeah. No, I want to go back there. And then my last.
I think it's the same as my last because we're down to our last.
Is Prague.
Yeah, mine too.
I'm
so glad you put Prague as on your S tier.
Yeah, it was just so cool.
Think you would.
Again, one of those places where I was like, this seems cool, but then just like blew out like any idea I thought I had about it.
Especially the history was so neat. All the museums were probably some of my favorites. I actually loved the food. We were with Andrew and Maddie. We had that great food after they left, and everything was so affordable.
And the people were so
amazing,
nice and outgoing. It was a great time. Again, these are not meant to be like comprehensive of the country that we were in. It was such a cool experience to get to see all of these places. yeah, there wasn't like one place where I didn't meet like a friendly person. Yeah, it was such a cool.
That goes to show by us saying like, oh, we would go back to all these places. There
For
really
sure.
isn't any that I'd be like, no, I never want to go back to that place.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for staying tuned through this whole video.
If you made it this far, congratulations.
Congrats. Thanks for watching all of our videos. If you're someone who's been around for a while on our channel, or maybe you're brand new and you're like, whoa, they went to all these places, now I want to watch all their old vlogs. But if you enjoyed this video, we'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And please comment which ranking surprised you the most.
Well, until next time, see ya.